Told you I'll be back with another video with the themed Supreme Soldier. This is my version of fried rice. Let's do it. Before I start, go check out my rice video. I'll put the link in the description. So as you can see, this is the first step in making this rice, is cutting down the onion. So when you're cutting the onion, it's not going to matter if you're cutting the onion and your cuts are too thick or too thin. Do it however you like. You're not in a restaurant, it doesn't matter. You'll see I get to a point that I'll actually turn the oven over. The reason for that is it gives me another stable side to start cutting the onion as the onion gets a little bit smaller. So the next step here is I'm going to be cutting down the garlic. I like to top and tail the garlic. It helps to remove the husk or the outer layer of the actual garlic itself. So you'll see I did miss a little bit. So again, just nice, slow, easy motions as you're cutting the garlic. Don't worry if you cut it and it's too thick or it's too thin. We're going to dice it up later on. You'll see I do a little bit of that in this video. And here's what your garlic will look like once you've minced it all up. I've already taken the top and the bottom of the bell pepper or paprika or capsicum, wherever you are in the world. It gives me more of a stable platform when I want to take the sides down. And so I have the nice long strips that it makes it a bit easier to cut, as you'll see in the next couple of segments. So here is where I'll show you how I take the middle section away, which is the white part. It's a little bit bitter and you don't really want to leave it in there. So I go along with the knife as close as I can to the flesh until past a certain point. Then I will hold the end that is away from the blade and move my way to cut it all out. So as you see, I'm cutting the capsicum with a nice slow motion back and forth. Don't worry if you're cutting it too thick or too thin. I can't stress this enough. It's not going to be tasting any worse just because your cuts are too thick or too thin. Really, you're going to enjoy it regardless. As you can see, with a little bit of time and practice, you can also cut at this speed as well. So I'm going to be adding the chicken now. This chicken I marinated in my hot sauce. I'll put the link in the description to that video so you guys can actually make the same hot sauce. So I'm going to cook it on both sides for 2 minutes. Okay, so I've cooked it for 2 minutes. Now I'm going to flip it over, cook it for another 2 minutes. You'll see it's a little bit darker. It's not burnt, it's just the sugars that caramelized. After that, I'm going to put it in the oven at 180 degrees that I've preheated for another 7 minutes to finish the cook. So I've taken the chicken out of the oven. I did put it aside to let it completely cool down. It's just a bit easier to cut when it's not extremely hot. So I'm just cutting down on an angle, as you can see there, just so I can get nice thinner strips for chicken, so when I put it in with the rice, it'll heat back up really quickly. So here I'm just whisking 2 eggs together because we're going to be adding egg to this fried rice. So this part I'm basically just making an omelette. I prefer to pour the mixture into a cold pan and bring the heat up slowly. It allows me to have a more controlled and even cook. So here, basically, I wait till the edges are completely cooked and firm. It helps me get the spatula under it to give it a flip. I'm still not perfect at doing that. Again, it doesn't matter if you break it. We're going to be cutting this up later on anyway. So take the egg of the frying pan onto your surface. Roll your egg up. That's going to make it a bit easier to cut because we want to have some nice long strips of egg. So as you see here, I'm just cutting the egg up into nice thin strips. Again, some of it is a bit thicker, it doesn't matter. Okay, so I've already added the onion to it. I've let it cook till it's a little bit soft, probably about 4 minutes. I'm now adding the garlic, then I'll be adding the bell pepper, and I'll sort of quickly saute those before I add the rest of the ingredients in there. So I'm just going to mix everything together with a wooden spoon. Again, this isn't the type of frying pan where you can properly really throw everything up in the air and catch it back in the pan. If I do that, it'll probably just make a big mess absolutely everywhere. So we're going to avoid doing that. I will do that a little bit later on when I have more things in there, but you'll see a lot of it still jumps out of the pan as I'm trying to do it. So I've already cooked everything for a couple of minutes, so I've already added the rice. Now I'm adding the prawns to it as well, and I'm just going to give it a quick stir. You'll see one of the prawns actually jumps out trying to escape, but he doesn't get too far. So now I'm adding the egg to it as well. Get another quick mix, and then we can move on to the next step. And last but not least, we're adding the chicken to this recipe. Now that finishes off the main ingredients. We will be adding a little bit of sauce to this. I'll show you that, guys, in the next part. So first I'm adding a little bit of sesame seed oil just to get that little bit of a nutty flavor in there. Last of all, I'm adding soy sauce. Now I didn't add too much because I don't want too much of a salty flavor. You can add as much as you like. Just give it a mix and you're finished. There you guys have it. Chicken and egg fried rice. Definitely give this recipe a go. It's going to taste great. If there's anything you want me to cook, please write it in the comments. I'm sure I can find a geek theme to go along with your recipe.
Alright, let's do this taste test. See? Now, spicy chicken hot sauce that I made, marinating that in the chicken for the 2 hours, really brings this all together. Yeah. It doesn't get much easier and better than this. One last bite. So, rude to talk with you, mouthful. So guys, that was the video for today. Thanks for watching as per normal. Please subscribe to the channel, write a comment if you tried this recipe. I'd love to hear from you guys. Hit that bell button so you get notified every time I put up a new video. So as always guys, I hope you have a great day. I hope you have an even better night, wherever you are in the world. And always be kind to one another. Bye guys.